fastest and most reliable way to fly around the world. Dallas-Fort Worth had over 81 million passengers in 2023. London Heathrow has a plane taking off about every 1.5 minutes. At any time, there is about 9,728 planes in the sky right now, carrying over 1 million passengers. Safety is a top priority in aviation. How did aviation become so safe? To find out, we have to go back in time. Now we are in the 1950s, a time when this van was popular. Other things happening in the 1950s is the post-World War II economic boom, the Korean War, and the Civil Rights Movement. In aviation, planes looked like this and this, but aviation has a problem. There is lack of control over aircraft, airline, and pilot regulations. This new industry needs control. Some examples of lack of control is the March 9, 2013 Marucci air crash, where 2 pilots survived but killed 2 people on the ground and leaving 14 people injured. The cause? Lack of pilot training. The pilots stalled the aircraft, which is the pilot's fault, not engine failure. Another example is the Pan American World Airways Flight 6, a scheduled around-the-world final leg, Honolulu to San Francisco. 4 hours and 38 minutes after takeoff, the plane started a climb to 21,000 feet, about halfway to San Francisco. The engine 1 failed because of the high power setting. Then engine 4 failed because of the highest power setting because of the loss of the first engine. Lack of thrust made the plane crash. Why did this happen? Because lack of maintenance to aircraft, because lack of regulations. This is why we need more control. How to solve this problem? Manufacturers have few regulations on how to build aircraft. For example, in the clip is a British Airways 787 being made. There should be a required steps on how to make this. For example, you put on the tail, then the nose, then the wings, then the landing gear. Another way to make flying safer is to make a more guided route to become a pilot. For example, first you get your pilot's license, then you get your multi-engine rating, etc. This would make flying safer. Most crashes happen because of these 2 problems. This would solve it. These solutions solve the problem. President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the Federal Aviation Act on August 23, 1958. In the Federal Aviation Act, the FAA was born. The FAA can regulate aircraft design, maintenance, and airworthiness, certify aircraft and aircraft parts, oversee airworthiness of foreign imports. For example, if they were carrying a highly flammable material, the FAA can say that can't fly. And, lastly, set standards for airports. Why there are no drones allowed to be flown near airports? Because the sky is very big, but you do not want to risk people's lives by flying a drone near an airport. This makes air travel safer, but what does the data say? The data shows that in the short-term impact, air travel became safer. In 1958 compared to 1959, there were about 75 fewer deaths. This means early safety improvements were already making a difference. However, as more people started flying, so did the number of flights, and so did the number of accidents. At this time, flying was still new, and airlines were figuring out how to make it safer. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, created new rules to protect passengers, preventing crashes. This helped lower the risk and kept things from getting worse. In the long run, now we will time travel to the 1970s, where this TV was popular. Planes were becoming more advanced, which made flying them even harder. Pilots, engineers, maintenance crews, and other staff had to learn new skills, and mistakes sometimes led to accidents. And some crashes happened because of technical problems, while others caused by human error. Even though flying was improving, these challenges made the 1970s a difficult time for aviation safety. If we move forward to the 1990s and early 2000s, air travel was bigger than ever. Airlines were making newer planes, but some of them had unexpected problems as well. Designing, building, and maintaining aircraft requires a lot of work, teamwork, testing, and careful planning. Even though safety rules were improved, mistakes still happen, and some crashes were caused by mechanical failures or errors in training. During the 2000s, 9/11 caused the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, to implement the TSA program. TSA now requires security in all airports, making air travel even safer. Now, if we jump to today, flying is safer than ever. Millions of people travel by plane every year, and the risk of an accident is extremely low. In fact, flying is now much safer than driving a car. Thanks to better technology, improved pilot training, and strict safety rules, flying has become one of the safest ways to travel. Looking back, we can see how far aviation has come. Even though there were times where flying was dangerous and constant improvements were made, it is now much safer, and what we started as completely risky from the Wright brothers is now to an everyday thing. Millions of people fly every day, and we don't have to worry, thanks to the Federal Aviation Act.